deaths is fentanyl. The CDC estimates that in the 12-month period ending in October of 2021, over 105,000 Americans died of drug overdoses, and over 66% of those deaths were related to fentanyl and other synthetic opioids. It's no coincidence that DEA and our state and local partners are seizing increasing amounts of fentanyl. Our division seized a record amount in 2021, almost as much as we seized in the previous 2 years combined. We have got to stop the fentanyl from reaching our communities. Counterfeit pills are more lethal than ever before. 2 out of every 5 pills has a deadly dose of fentanyl in it. Just 2 milligrams, how much is that? So I have this packet of sweetener. If this was fentanyl, this would be 1,000 lethal doses. This is why DEA is trying to get the message out that 1 pill can kill. It's not just the safety from drug overdoses that concern us. The case on the board by the Junction City Police Department is a prime example This case includes a homicide involving 2 individuals who were engaged in the distribution of counterfeit pills. When officials arrived on the crime scene, they found hundreds of fake oxycodone M30 pills, along with 2 firearms. These drug traffickers are typical of the illicit opioid community, and this case shows how drug trafficking and violence are intertwined. I'd like to have the Shawnee County Sheriff Brian Hill take a moment to tell you more about the current illegal drug environment in this region.
Good morning. I'm Brian Hill, and I'm the Sheriff of Shawnee County, Kansas. Shawnee County community is not exempt from the narcotics epidemic taking place across this nation and the lethal consequences and the dangers of the counterfeit pills that are flooding our communities. In 2021, the Shawnee County Sheriff's Office Drug Enforcement Unit seized over 1,100 pills containing fentanyl. These pills are also known locally here as Dirty 30 pills out in the street. Law enforcement responded to numerous calls involving overdoses in situations that have involved fentanyl in the last couple of years here. In 2022, our drug enforcement unit continued to make multiple seizures of pills. And again, these pills have an alarming amount of fentanyl ingrained in them. In April of 2021, one of our deputies was actually transported to the hospital from an overdose from a seizure of pills containing fentanyl. Just the mere breathing around some of these fentanyl products is enough to put you in an overdose state. In 2019 here, we united the local law enforcement agencies, and we created the Shawnee County Drug Task Force. Now, that task force created a centralized network that provides collaboration, intelligence sharing, combined operational resources to disrupt the illegal narcotics trade within our community. The 1 Pill Can Kill initiative will enhance these partnerships and hopefully save lives. This is a serious epidemic that's impacting everybody. I know there's not probably a weekend that goes by that there's not somebody going into the emergency room with an overdose. We look forward to collaborating with our local law enforcement partners across Northeast Kansas in the 1 Pill Can Kill initiative, and hopefully that we can bring awareness to the dangers associated with these counterfeit pills and ultimately disrupt the illegal trafficking within our community.
Thank you, Sheriff Hill. Which brings us to the Northeast Kansas One Pill Can Kill initiative. Drug traffickers are distributing deadly synthetic fentanyl in fake pills, made and deceptively marketed to look like real prescription medications. We know the communities in Northeast Kansas are being impacted, so all of us up here are dedicated in finding the individuals who are causing the harm and stopping the flow of deadly fentanyl. The goals of the One Pill Can Kill initiative are to share intelligence gathered by law enforcement officers from overdose events, regardless of whether a death occurs. Target and arrest the people distributing the fake pills. Reduce the supply of counterfeit pills coming into Northeast Kansas. Prosecute the people who are causing the deaths and harm, and reduce the demand through community awareness of the danger. Ultimately, we want to reduce the number of overdose deaths. How are we going to do this? I'm going to let Dan Neal, the director of the Midwest High Intensity Drug Trafficking Area, tell you how data from the police departments around the area can help law enforcement track down the criminal drug networks in this region. And then you'll hear from Assistant United States Attorney Kerry Capwell, the Criminal Division Chief for the United States Attorney's Office, District of Kansas, about how we will get these criminals off our streets.
Thank you, Mike. Again, my name is Daniel Neal. I'm the Executive HIDTA Director for the Midwest. Some of you may be asking, what exactly is HIDTA? High Intensity Drug Trafficking Area, under the Office of National Drug Control Policy, which falls under the President. What is our goal here? What is our goal here as the HIDTA Director for the Midwest? Well, the Midwest covers, my area is the Missouri, Kansas, Iowa, Nebraska, South Dakota, and North Dakota area. And what is our mission? Our mission is to bring together a collaborative effort of law enforcement agencies of state, federal, and tribal police to work together in a collaborative effort to combat drug trafficking and to reduce the number of deaths in our area, right? And how do we accomplish that? Through our partnerships with Kansas Bureau of Investigations and other law enforcement agencies within Kansas and the Department of Kansas EMS system. Bringing together this data, which you'll see over here to my right, of showing the number of overdoses for the state of Kansas, which I hope this shocks you, but in a 3-month period of time, the state of Kansas has had over 2,500 overdoses. Let that sink in. 2,500 overdoses in a 3-month period. That's somebody's mother, that's somebody's father, that's somebody's brother, that's a soccer mom, soccer dad. It's too many. It's too many, folks. And you put it into perspective of the national average of this, over 104,000 people die a year of a drug overdose. Let me put it in perspective to you. How many people sit at a Chiefs game at Arrowhead Stadium for one game? It's over 75,000 people in a game. You'd have to fill that stadium once with all the employees, all the support people on the outside, people passing through I-70, to number the number of deaths that we have a year. That's too many. And so what I propose to you is start having these conversations. Mr. Davis just told you that 2 out of 5 fentanyl pills is enough to kill you. So that's 40% when you look at that. That's 40% of the pills that are out there on our streets have a lethal dose to be able to kill you. Is your life worth playing roulette with? I don't believe so. I don't believe so at all. And 2020, the number of overdoses in Kansas was 477. Do you think that number came down in 2021? Unfortunately, no. We have over 575 deaths due to all drugs, and 2/3 of those is opioids. So again, I beg you, I ask you, have these conversations before it's too late. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm First Assistant United States Attorney Carrie Capwell with the United States Attorney's Office for the District of Kansas. I'm also the criminal chief there. I want to first thank the Drug Enforcement Administration for inviting us and other agencies to participate in this very important initiative, One Pill Can Kill. The U.S. Attorney's Office recognizes the devastating impact that fentanyl overdoses are having on communities and families here in Kansas and also across the United States. I want to take my brief time here this morning to first explain the role of the U.S. Attorney's Office in prosecuting individuals who are distributing fentanyl. I want to share some statistics from our prosecutions. I'd like to briefly also talk to you about the sentencing penalties that come under the federal statutes. And then last, I just want to speak to our commitment to help combat this ever-growing problem. So first, the U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of Kansas, and specifically our criminal division, serve as the prosecutorial arm of the federal government. So we help enforce and prosecute federal criminal laws. We do that here in Kansas, but we also can prosecute activity that happens in Kansas, but that also extends across state lines and even across international lines. We are led by our local U.S. Attorney here in the District of Kansas, who serves under the direction of the U.S. Attorney General. Now, in terms of some statistics from cases that we have prosecuted in the District of Kansas relating to fentanyl, from 2020 to present, our office has indicted at least 44 defendants for fentanyl-related crimes. That can be distribution of fentanyl, conspiracy to distribute fentanyl, possession with intent to distribute fentanyl, and it also includes aiding and abetting any of those crimes. So far, 17 of those defendants have been convicted. There are about 27 defendants whose cases are still pending in federal court. Now, in 2019, as part of Operation Chicago Connection, prosecutors at the U.S. Attorney's Office charged 10 defendants in a fentanyl distribution conspiracy. And currently, as part of that case, we are seeking enhanced penalties against 5 of those defendants based on an overdose death of a Kansas State University student, and that occurred in 2017. Turning to sentencing penalties under the federal statutes. Federal statutes do impose mandatory minimum penalties for the distribution of narcotics, including fentanyl. These are based typically on the quantity of fentanyl at issue. So for example, if one is convicted of distributing or assisting in the distribution of fentanyl and the quantity is 400 grams or more, that's a 10-year mandatory minimum sentence in prison up to life. If the quantity that that defendant is held accountable for is 40 grams or more, that's going to be a minimum of 5 years and up to 40 years in jail. The drug statutes federally also include enhanced penalties if a death results. So in the case that I mentioned, where the defendant is held accountable for 400 grams or more, if the government proves that the victim died or suffered serious bodily injury because of the fentanyl that that defendant distributed, then the sentence there is life imprisonment, mandatory life imprisonment. Otherwise, if the quantity is less than 400 grams and death results and the government meets its burden of proof, the mandatory minimum is 20 years in prison and up to life. It is a privilege for the U.S. Attorney's Office to be included in this initiative. We are honored, and we do take a team approach to fentanyl investigations and prosecutions. We work with federal, state, and local partners, including district attorneys, county attorneys, to achieve the best result possible for the case and for our community. Our state and local partners are on the front lines of this epidemic, but we can also play an important role in assisting because of our federal resources where cases might extend outside of Kansas and even internationally. We are committed to working with our partners and supporting our law enforcement partners to disrupt the distribution of fentanyl, to decrease the resulting overdose deaths, and also to prosecute those responsible. And fentanyl distributors and those who assist them should know that if they are caught in the District of Kansas, prosecuted and convicted in the District of Kansas, they will spend significant time in jail. Thank you. I'm now going to turn it back over to SAC Davis.
Thank you, Ms. Capwell. We initiated this Kansas effort in January. This line chart here demonstrates what the One Pill Can Kill initiative is doing. Overdose deaths and 2 homicides related to fake oxycodone pills are represented in the gray circles. The lines from the deaths are the intelligence provided by law enforcement agencies here, linking the deaths to other individuals. Notice the red circles. This is what you get when you have enough information to identify targets causing the harm to our citizens. We've already identified 14 individuals involved in counterfeit pill distribution. We're going to do everything we can to get justice for the families and friends who are being impacted by counterfeit pills, but we can use everyone's help. We encourage the public to join in. If someone knows something about criminal activity in their neighborhood, workplace, or school, use the KBI QR code in the media package, or go to kbi.ks.gov//SAR, their suspicious activity report, and report the activity. Together we can make Kansas a safer, healthier place to live. Thank you.
Okay, and that concludes our press conference. At this time, those